Namaste everyone, thank you for listening. Today I want to talk about a big danger that destroys many people on this path. Well, not destroys them, but stops them. And I've talked about this a little bit in my previous video of spiritual bypassing. This is related to that, but on a specific small part of it. A very dangerous myth, a very idiotic myth. That myth is that money or the material world is inherently bad or evil. And you must have seen this on many forums. They're like, oh, look at these people, they're running after money. This is an example of spiritual arrogance, where you think you're better than others because you're so spiritual. And an example of spiritual bypassing, because you think that just because you're spiritually meditating, you don't have to worry about money, that everything will just work out. No, it won't. And I speak from experience. But I specifically want to talk about the money myth, because it is very corrosive and very harmful. Because even if you meditate for 2 hours a day, at the end of the day you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your bills. And if you continue to think money is bad, money is bad, money is bad, if you reject money, money will reject you. And I've been in both situations. I've situations where I had no money and where I have a lot of money. And trust me, it's easier to meditate when you don't have to worry about paying the bill. It's a lot easier. So, this money is evil comes out in different forms, like, oh, do you want happiness or do you want money? Money doesn't make you happy. Funny thing is, poor people keep saying that money doesn't make you happy. I've never seen a rich person say that. I don't know why poor people, if you say that money doesn't make you happy, I'll bet you £1,000,000 you're poor. I've never seen a rich person say that. I read a book by T. Harv Eker, and he gave the best counter to this. When people say, do you want money or do you want happiness? The answer is both. It's like saying, do you want your right hand or do you want your left hand? Do you want your arms or do you want your legs? The answer is always both. Do you want your arms or your legs? Both. Do you want money or do you want happiness? Both. Do you want spiritual progress or material progress? Both. Why do you have to choose between them? What's this? Where does this idea come from that money is inherently evil? Attachment to money is evil, but attachment to anything is wrong. That has nothing to do with money itself. So I think most people have a negative attraction to wealth and sex, but we'll talk about money now. What do we mean by negative attraction? There's this story you must have heard of. It's a very popular story. Two Buddhist monks were walking across a river, and they saw a woman crying there. She wanted to cross the river, but she couldn't. She was scared. The water was very deep, and this woman was short. So she said, "Oh, please help me cross the river." And one of the monks said, "Oh, I can't do that. We are celibate monks. We don't touch women." The other monk said, "No problem, I'll do you." He carried her on his back, and he helped her cross the river. And then these two monks walked home. And after 8 hours, the second monk said, "Oh, I'm going to tell on you. You touched a woman. It is against our, vows." And the first monk said, "I left that woman 8 hours ago, and you've still been carrying her in your mind." And that's what a negative attraction is when you're so scared of something, you think something so evil that you're constantly thinking of, how can I avoid it? How can I avoid this? How can I avoid this? Sex and money are prime examples of this. Money, people think money is evil, money is evil, money is evil. Rich people are evil, rich people are evil. And they're constantly thinking of money because they hate it so much. Or they think money is bad. Now they hate money, but they have to pay the bills. That means every month they're reminded of how little money they have. And they're always saying, they're always angry, money is bad, money is evil. Money is neither evil nor good. It just is. It's just an energy that makes the world go round. Just one energy, like electricity or gravity or the sun. It's just something that exists. The gravity isn't bad. I mean, if you jump from a 100-foot building, you'll die. But that's not gravity's fault. If you touch a naked electric wire, you'll die. That's not electricity's fault. Same way, People use money to make themselves feel happy, to fill the hole in their heart. That's not money's fault. People can use other people who think spiritual types, who think money is so evil. Most of them, they still do drugs, or they drink alcohol, or they sleep around. So they're using other things to fill that hole in themselves. It's not alcohol's problem. It's not sex's problem. It's not money's problem. This energy is neutral. And to think that money is evil is doing this great harm to yourself and to society. If you had enough money, you wouldn't have to worry about making paycheck or how you're going to pay those bills, or for following your dreams, your passions. If you had enough money, you could just do whatever you wanted. You wanted to be a musician, you could do so. You want to be a writer, you could do so. You want to teach meditation full time, you could do so if you had enough money. But if you keep thinking, oh, money is evil, money is evil, money is evil, then you won't have money, and you won't find happiness either. People say you can have money or happiness. They usually don't have either. So it's not money that's evil. It's the attraction to money that's evil. Related to this are desires. Along with money, we are told, oh, desires are bad. You must give up all your desires and become a monk. And that's certainly one path. Yeah, you can do that. But again, it's not desires that are wrong, right? It's attraction to the outer world. It's trying to use the material world as a substitute for finding inner peace and joy, inner happiness. Obviously it can't do that, but that's not a fault of the material world. It's your own fault. You have to find the happiness within. But once you find that happiness, there's no harm in enjoying the material world that the universe created for you. Desires are not bad, because the universe, it grows through us, it expands through us. It's not, we are aware and the universe is over there. The divine intelligence is working through us all the time. And it wants to grow through us. And some of the desires we have, they're not really our desires, they're the desires of the universe. How do you know which are your desires, which are the ego's desires? The ego's desires are based on fear and avoiding something. If you hate your job and you're like, oh, I want to get out of here, that's the ego. But if you want to grow as a human being, you want to have more money, more house, so you can live a better life, a more comfortable life. That's the universe's desire. The universe wants to grow through you. The universe wants to experience the world through you. It wants to experience growth through you. Growth is not just spiritual. It can be material, emotional, physical, everything. And the universe wants to expand in all the directions through you. And this is originally it was called the two paths. The path of Shiva and path of Shakti. So the Shiva is these are just words, don't get attached to them. Don't think of it traditionally in Hindu, there's a Shiva. I'm not talking about that. Well, it is related to that, but I'm not talking about that Hindu. So this is Shiva's energy. It's the energy of, the spirit that stays away from the world and looks down on it, so away from it. It's a consciousness made of pure bliss and pure happiness. So most religions, they follow the path of Shiva, because this conscious energy, it doesn't want anything, it doesn't need anything, it's always blissful. That's what most spiritual paths and most religions try to do. They try to run away from the world, get away from it, so they can feel that bliss. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The second path that very few people follow is the path of Shakti. Shakti is the divine part of, the active part of, the divine consciousness. It is the part that creates a universe and becomes a universe. And it manifests through us. It creates the world, and then it creates our souls, and it enjoys the act of creation and the act of manifestation through us. And this second path of Shakti, is a path where you go for spiritual enlightenment, but you also enjoy the world. You don't run away from the world. And traditional religions and traditional spiritual paths, they hate this path because they think this world is evil, inherently evil, that there's nothing nice in this world, and they try to run away from it. And like I said, that's fine. You can follow this path. You can follow the path of running away from the world, leaving the world, leaving all desires. But that's a very hard path. It's a path of pain and struggle, because you still have to live in the. You can go to the Himalayas and become a monk, but what are you going to eat then? That's a problem. You starve yourself and spend hours in meditation. On the other hand, if you follow the path of Shakti, the Shakti is often seen as the goddess, the divine mother. And on this path, you can get spiritual enlightenment and material abundance, because this active part of the divine, the Shakti, this divine goddess force, she doesn't like people who run away. She wants to grow through the world and find joy through the world. And that's a valid path, which you don't suppress your desires. You identify which desires come from the ego, which are based on fear, and which are from the divine. And this might need some spiritual work to be done inside of you. You need to be first spend maybe a few months, maybe a few years trying to purify yourself, so you can know the difference. And the only way to know the difference is to have some level of awareness inside of you. There's no fixed answer. I cannot give you one. The simple answer is that you have to be very honest with yourself. Are my desires coming from fear, or are they coming from a position of love? Do I want to grow and expand with the universe, or I'm just trying to hide for something? Oh no, the world is evil. Oh no, money is evil. And you have to be utterly, brutally honest with yourself. And this might require some preparation, some spiritual work, some sitting meditation, some compassion. But once you reach a stage, you can find out which of your desires are coming from you, from the ego, and which are coming from the universe. And if you follow the path of Shakti, you can ask the divine, so you can say, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be a starving yogi. I don't want to run to the Himalayas. I want to find enlightenment. But I also want a nice, comfortable house. I want a nice car. And the universe actually helps you. The universe wants you to succeed. Because if you fail in the material world, you will fail in the spiritual world as well. If you're starving to death, or you're constantly worried about paying the bills, you won't be able to meditate. Sorry to say that. I don't care what all these people say. Running after money is bad. If you're always, every time you get your bill and you're like, I can't pay, I don't have this much money. You're not meditating, you're sitting. Even if you sit to meditate, you'll be like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay? 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 Like I said, why should we torture us? Why should we be, suffer like that? There is this easy path, the path of Shakti, the goddess. It's an easy path, because the goddess will take you where you need to go. Shakti will take you where you need to go, spiritually and materially. She'll give you spiritual and material abundance. And her sort of payment for this is that she gets to grow through you. She gets to see the universe expand through you. That's the biggest goal of the goddess, to expand the consciousness of the universe through you, through us. And you might think, oh, how does that help? So, previously, I'm talking 100, 200 years ago, if you wanted knowledge, you wanted to learn about meditation, you had to go to some guru in the Himalayas, you had to walk 100 miles, and you had to walk naked foot, or maybe hire a horse if you could afford one. And then you would spend 10 years in the foot, with a guru to learn something. Now you can get it all the internet. You can just go on YouTube and get everything. Now, all these technologies, internet, YouTube, they were created by, dirty and filthy materialists. But actually it was that same Shakti, the goddess, working through them. She was trying to expand the consciousness, so it could become easier for people to meditate, to talk to each other, to have empathy with each other. Now, obviously, the darkness, the ego, takes over these weapons. So the internet is used for trolling and sending death threats. And people are using these technologies for the wrong reason. Atom bomb can be used to create electricity. It can also be used to destroy whole cities and countries. Again, like I said, it's not the fault of these technologies, it's the consciousness we're using them from. So this Shakti, this goddess force, is trying to expand through us. It's trying to raise the consciousness of the whole world. She wants everybody to become enlightened. Obviously, that won't happen immediately, but she's trying her best, and she wants to experience growth in the whole universe through us. So if we grow, this goddess force, she wants us to grow so we can then help others. And we can't help others if we are dirt poor, or if we are starving, or if we can barely pay the bills. The best way to help others is to be so strong yourself that you can say, yeah, I can help you. I've got enough. I have enough spiritual abundance. I've got enough material abundance. I've got emotional strength. I've got intellectual power to help you. And most people don't believe this is possible. They're like, oh, you can't have that. It's only material world is evil. You can have money, or you can have spiritual. You can't have both. Well, I'm telling you now, you can have both. And you should have both, and you should deserve both. You just need to follow the simple path. The path of the goddess, the path of Shakti. And how do you do that? It's quite simple. You just open yourself up to divine guidance, and the first step is obviously to be utterly, brutally honest with yourself. What do you want? If you want material wealth, that's fine. Just ask the universe for it. Don't do anything out of fear, but again, it'll take time. If you're open to guidance, if your heart is open, or you can humbly ask, please, goddess, or if you don't like this word goddess, call it divine intelligence, please guide me. Because that's what the goddess, the Shakti is. She's a universal intelligence. You just humbly ask, please, what should I do next? How can I have everything? How can I have spiritual and material abundance? What should I do next? What should my very first step be? How can I stop this ego's game? If you ask humbly, she will show you. The goddess will show you because the goddess is you. It's not a force outside of us. There's no, I'm here and the universal consciousness is over there somewhere in that direction. It's not like that. The divine is in us, and we are in the divine, and there's this intertwined link between us. So our desires are actually the desires of the divine. Even the so-called selfish, egoistic desires, that's the universe trying to discover through us what doesn't work. So if the ego is running after money for fill it the pain in its heart, and it doesn't find happiness. Even that's a spiritual thing, because the universe learns through us that running after money doesn't make you happy. If you're trying to use money to fill the hole in your heart, or if you're trying to you're looking for a good relationship, but you end up having one night stands, just sleeping around, then the universe learns through us that this doesn't make us happy. So ultimately it's the universe learning through us, this divine force learning through us. So all desires come from the divine, but some desires take us higher and some take us lower. And the thing is, the only way to tell is it making you happy? Is it taking you towards joy and peace? Then it's a genuine desire. It's taking you towards fear, or it's arising from fear that, I'm scared. And again, like I said, you need some level of consciousness to know the difference, but it's not something that's very hard. You just need to sit down and be brutally honest with yourself. Anyway, so this video was supposed to be for only 5 or 10 minutes. I've gone on too long, and I guess I'll have to make a part 2, because so the summary, the TLDR is, money or the material world is not inherently evil. If you reject the material world, you are rejecting the goddess, this divine intelligence that created this world. It's our attraction to this world that's bad. Attachment to the world, this clinging, that's bad, not the actual world. So enjoy the world, enjoy, a big house, enjoy the car, enjoy everything. There's nothing wrong with it. But make sure you don't get your peace and joy from the world. That should come from the inside. And then the material world is just a way for the universe to expand through you. Okay, and this force I call it the Shakti Path, path of the goddess. that doesn't believe in rejecting your desires but growing through them. So like I said, this is a huge topic. Maybe I'll have another video just on this. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.